Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a foundation review and wear test, and I don't think this comes to any surprise. I could not resist the new Natasha Denona HyGlam Foundation. Everyone went crazy over the concealer, myself included. I love Natasha Denona as a brand, so when she announced she was coming out with a foundation, I couldn't resist myself. Even though I'm trying to buy less foundations, I had to do a first impression on it. So in today's video, I will be pulling you in a little bit closer, applying this foundation with you on camera, then doing a 4-hour check-in outside in natural daylight, inserting in some swatches, comparing the shade I have, which is N4, to some other shades in my collection, and then coming back at the very end of my day and just giving my overall first impression thoughts. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, I'm going to pull you in closer and we're going to get started. All right, now that I have you in just a little bit closer, we're gonna get started. So I have no makeup on my skin, no primer, just my skincare. When I do a foundation review and wear test, I like to just get a baseline of the foundation and see what it can do without the effects of a primer or a powder, etc. So this is what we're looking at. As far as my skin type, I kind of have combination skin. It'll be dry on the outsides. I can get oily in the T-zone, and I feel like I suffer with enlarged pores. I have a few blemishes right now, but I would say that's not typical for me. I'm usually pretty blemish free. It's not something that I'm like super concerned about on a day-to-day basis, but we're gonna try this foundation. Here is what the box looks like. It's nice and reflective. I have the shade N4. That's what I ended up going with. I do think this is a foundation that probably would be best if you go in store to try to find your shade, unlike I did, which is try to shade match myself online. Because there are 52 shades. This retails for $52. Here's what the bottle looks like. I think it looks chic. It looks modern. It feels luxury. It's a nice glass bottle. There's definitely been other foundations I've spent more money on that feel a lot less expensive. I'm thinking Prada, and I guess it comes with a pump, which is nice. I was expecting it to come with a pump, to be honest. So we're just going to try this foundation. Like I said, it retails for $52. Now, it does claim to have a medium buildable coverage with a radiant finish, and it says it's geared towards all skin types. However, when I was looking at the box here, it was saying that if you want a radiant finish, to use a foundation brush, and then if you want fuller coverage, to use your fingers or a damp sponge, which I kind of found interesting, because normally a sponge is going to lighten up the coverage a little bit because it'll soak up a little bit of product. And then this does claim to be self-setting. It says it can be worn alone or paired with powder for natural matte finish. I do like a light to medium coverage foundation, and I do prefer a natural leaning matte if I had to choose. So I know I said I don't always use powder, but we're gonna play it by ear, see how this looks once I apply it. And I think normally I just do half my face with a sponge, half with a brush, and we're gonna keep it like that, see if it affects the coverage. And that's just 2 pumps on the back of my hand. This is a serum foundation, so you can see it's pretty runny on the back of my hand here. And we'll go in with the brush first. That's just usually a little bit easier to go in with. And the shade seems to be all right. I have the shade N2 in the concealer, and it definitely is a little bit light for me. I think the photos run light online. That's just my opinion, because Natasha Denona says she wears the shade N4 in the concealer. And so I remember thinking like that, oh, that's going to be way too dark for me. And I feel like N4 would have been a pretty good concealer match for me. And N4 is definitely going to be a good match. I'm glad I went with this, because I was kind of thinking, because I knew it ran a little bit light, going with N5. And then I kind of was a little bit nervous it was going to be too dark for me, especially going into cooler months here. So I decided to go down and go in with N4. And I'm happy I did that. It is very weightless on the skin. Doesn't feel like anything. It's super lightweight, which it does claim to do. And it also says it's going to blur imperfections. So as of right now, I would say it blurred my pores a little bit. Not to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, like my pores don't exist anymore, but it didn't enhance them at all, which is nice. And I love that it says that it's self-setting. I could see this being a really nice foundation, and it kind of to me feels just a little bit different than the concealer off the bat. The concealer feels a little bit more heavy. This really, I'm surprised at how lightweight this feels. That's what's really catching me off guard right now, how lightweight and how good the coverage is. So there's half my face with the brush. Super fast, super simple to apply. This is how much I have left. And we're gonna go in with my sponge on the other side. I do typically prefer a sponge. That's what I'm used to. That's what I just find to be the quickest. But I can tell you already in just the 3 seconds of applying this might be a brush foundation because it's a serum foundation. I should have probably known that. You can still really see my blemish there. So I wouldn't say it's like fuller coverage. Yeah, it just enhances the pores a little bit more with the sponge. I'm going to ditch this and just go in with my brush here. And we're going to see if we can build it up here since it does claim to be buildable. Just kind of spread this out everywhere. So I'm going to pump just like a dot, like literally that much on the back of my hand here to see if I can build this up. If this was just a normal makeup day for me, to be honest, I don't mind if a blemish shows. I would rather my skin look a little bit more natural than cakey, so I normally don't build up foundations. That probably wasn't enough to do anything, I don't think. Let's try just a tiny bit more. Okay, like this much. Let's see. Kind of just dot it. Okay, it is building, but for me, I already said this is not typically what I would do. I probably would go in with like a concealer underneath, let it dry a little bit, and be happy with that. And then whatever covers. We can't look perfect all the time, can we? So this is what we're looking like. I did, as you saw, ditch the sponge. We just went with a brush all the way around. I think that's the better choice here. I do feel like it's blurring. I don't know if I would say it's a radiant finish. She does say, I guess, like a natural radiant. I could agree with that. It's like just teetering on radiant more than matte. And it's just enough for me. It's the perfect amount of radiance. Hopefully it just doesn't get more oily for me throughout the day. It does say it's for all skin types, so we'll see if it controls oils. It does feel like a little bit sticky still. It hasn't like fully self-set. So we'll see if like in a couple of minutes while I go off camera, finish up the rest of my makeup, if it kind of self-sets a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to go in with powder. I'm going to stick to the original plan, which is no powder, to really see how this foundation wears, because it does claim to have an 18-hour wear time. So I do want to just check that. But overall, like I think just for starting, it looks really, really nice. Again, just like fully taken aback on like how lightweight it feels for how much coverage I have. So let me go, kind of let this settle, do the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Rest of my makeup is on, and I'm liking how this looks a lot, actually. Everything that I'm wearing will be listed down in the description box below, but what's pertinent to kind of the foundation wear test is I am wearing the Natasha Denona concealer under my eyes. Interestingly, I didn't like it when I tapped it out with a brush. That was my first time doing it, so I did go in with the sponge to just smooth it out. I found it to be a little bit creasy, and then I did set with powder just the concealer under my eyes here. That's about it. I have no powder on my face other than like bronzer, blush, and highlight, and no setting spray. So this is just the foundation like here where there's not bronzer, etc. It still feels kind of sticky, you know, especially here where there's no other product. It's just the foundation. But it's passable because I have the powder on other parts of my face. It doesn't feel like my hair is going to stick to it or anything, but it just kind of did. It doesn't feel like that though, so I will let it slide. I might next time when I test this out some more, when this isn't a first impression, use powder just to kind of see how it wears. But for today, we're going to see how long lasting it is. I think it looks really nice. It is definitely a medium coverage. You can tell like my blemish is a little bit more covered now that I have more product on my face, but it still looks really lightweight. I will agree with the blurring properties. And again, just like it doesn't look like I have anything on my skin, but there still is a lot of coverage. I'm definitely wearing makeup, but it doesn't look heavy at all. So that's what I'm really just the happiest with. We're going to see how this wears, how it breaks down. If I get oily in my T-zone, I'll be wearing this probably for around 10 hours today, and that's what I'm just most curious about. Other than that, I really have no other comments. Actually, I have one. I do have a sneaking suspicion that this oxidized just a little bit. So editing me is going to hate myself, but I'm going to pop up a photo just testing my theory of having the foundation. I'm going to let it sit for about around 5 minutes on my hand and then do a fresh swatch, show a photo right now just to see if it actually oxidized. I don't normally notice oxidization or like if a foundation dries down a little bit darker. That's not something that really stands out to me a lot, but it kind of stood out to me here, and I think that it did a little bit because I thought the shade match was pretty good, but now I'm thinking maybe I should have gone with N3. I don't know, but future me will know. So yeah, overall, very happy with this. Glad that I'm trying this out. Hopefully it continues to go well, but I am going to finish up with you here, probably change so I can do my intro and maybe like nicer attire, but I do plan on wearing this the rest of the day and kind of just staying comfy cozy. It is Sunday and I just feel like being in a sweatshirt, but my intro will probably have a little bit of a nicer top on or something like that. But I'm going to go do things around the house. I have a lot of chores to do, and I will be back to check in with you in around 4 hours outside in natural daylight. Okay, here we are outside in natural daylight. It's been about 4 hours, and this is what the foundation's looking like. It looks pretty good. It is a little bit more shiny than I would want in my T-zone, but overall can't complain for not setting it. I definitely want to set it next time just in my T-zone and see. It just feels a little bit, I'm still feeling a little bit sticky, especially on my chin here, but it hasn't broken apart. It doesn't look any different than it did 4 hours ago when I applied it. Overall, like, I'm pretty impressed right now. I don't find the consistency the same with the foundation and the concealer. Like, I don't feel like they deserve to be under the same line. I think there's too many differences, but that's just me nitpicking. It's neither here nor there. That's just a marketing tactic, so I'm not gonna harp on it, but I think my skin looks really good. Like, you can see my blemish here. It's still visible, but it's still pretty well covered. And yeah, I honestly have no comments other than that. It looks exactly how it did when I first applied it. So we're going to see if it just continues to break down. It does claim to be long lasting, like I've already mentioned, and that's really right now my biggest concern is how it wears, if it's going to wear down kind of naturally, which we all want, or if it's going to be like splotchy and look patchy on the skin and kind of break down with the natural oils that come through. I'm not thinking it's going to, since it is more of a serum foundation, more skincare infused. It should kind of just wear away naturally, but you never know. You never know. And that is why I'm testing it out for you all today. But yeah, this is where we're at. I've been outside, inside, been all around. I haven't just been doing nothing and letting the foundation like do nothing. Actually trying to move around and give like a real life example of how this foundation would wear. So just kind of been doing chores here and there, nothing too strenuous. I didn't go work out or anything like that, putting it through the ringer, but there has been some movement to at least see how it would wear if you were working just like a low impact job. So yeah, this is where we're at. I'm going to insert my swatches right about now and continue on my day. I'll check back in with you all in another 4 or 5 hours. Here we are. It's the end of the night. We're approaching 9 hours, and this is what the foundation's looking like. It has not moved whatsoever. So I do believe the 18-hour wear claim. The only negative I have for this is just how kind of radiant I look. However, I will say it's very humid outside right now. It is about to rain, so it's like that, just, you know, the humidity before the rain, and I was just cooking, so I was on top of a hot stove. So definitely like my oils are coming through, but it's not over the top. I don't do any touch-ups throughout my wear test because, again, I just want to get a baseline of where this is at. And for 9 hours, I think it looks pretty dang good. So I am going to just kind of use my puff to blot just a little bit and take down that shine, because I've been itching all day to do this, and it's finally a relief once I'm able to. And yeah, see, just doing that in the T-zone completely refreshened up this foundation. It looks like I just applied it. I like it a lot. My complexion products like haven't moved, so I know that the foundation's kind of holding those in place. If my makeup looked like this at the end of the night or like a full day of working, I would be very, very happy. Now, I was kind of in my head before sitting down to film this, I was kind of comparing it to the Valentino foundation because this is in my project pan and I'm almost done with it. You can see my line markings here. Like, I have very little of this left. So I think that I have a good idea of how this foundation works. And I may, just on first impressions, like the Natasha Denona better than the Valentino. It just feels more lightweight and natural on the skin, and it really does feel weightless on top of just looking like a second skin. That's what I like about it. I feel like the Valentino is just a hair more thick, and it doesn't look cakey whatsoever. Like, that's what I like about this, is it's a natural finish, and it does look like one with the skin while being a medium coverage, but this is just a little bit better for, I think, around the same price point. So we'll see how it goes once I try this a couple more times. I do want to try this with powder, see how that works. Like, does the powder work with the serum foundation in particular and kind of cling to it and break it apart? Because I have no breaking apart. It's fully, if it's even, I was going to say it's worn down naturally, but I don't even know that it's worn down, to be honest. I'm very, very happy with this. Like, even my eye makeup looks pretty good still, and normally like it's looking a little crusty, and I think because I took like my foundation brush and just kind of swept over my eye. I don't use like any primer whatsoever. I just use my foundation. Going back to my application, I do think that a brush is better than a sponge. I will try it with a sponge again, like just a sponge to make sure when I'm just testing this out, but it really does seem like a brush is the way to go. So if you're a sponge user like me, that could be a con to you if you just don't like using a brush. And it's mostly for me remembering that this is a foundation I can't go in with my normal routine. If you're already a brush user, it's not really a problem. I can't get over like how blurring and nice my skin looks. this is absolutely a winner for me. I'm very, very happy with my purchase. I have been trying to just tone down my purchases a little bit. And so when you kind of buy less, you want to make sure that the things you're buying are actually things that you love and want to use. And this is definitely one of them. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of videos around this foundation. Natasha Denona is a widely talked about brand. So I'm interested to see other people's opinions on this and if it matches my own. I haven't seen any videos as of right now. So it will be really interesting to see if my opinions are the same or different than everyone else's. And I would love to hear your opinions. Like, how does it look from your side of the camera? I don't use filters or anything like that unless it's like unintentional camera settings. I don't purposely go in and try to do anything. I, of course, have like the ring lights on me, so that is going to make my skin look a little bit better than it actually is. Clinging to me. And that does remind me, I don't love how kind of sticky it feels when you touch it. And that's why I want to try it with the powder, but it didn't get in the way where the whole day I felt like my skin was really, really sticky. Are you going to purchase this foundation? Are you going to wait for more reviews? Are you going to skip it whatsoever and you feel like Natasha Denona is kind of a hyped up brand? I feel like she makes really smart and spaced out launches. Like, I don't feel like we see too many products in the same category from her over and over and over again. So I'm hoping what that means is that this was a really well thought out launch. She did actually take the time to make sure this was a nice foundation, and everyone likes it just as much as me. So let me know your thoughts down below. I hope this wear test was helpful for you. I hope the swatches helped out to try and figure out your shade if you're kind of trying to decide what shade you are. But this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.